A day in the Mech Bay. The game room was a sanctuary of focus, but the scent of freshly baked cinnamon rolls and hot coffee promised a brief, delicious respite. Clarissa entered, carrying a tray, her blonde hair seeming to catch every bit of sunlight, framing a face that was beautiful not just in its features, but in the depth of kindness in her blue eyes. She was a wonder, a woman who had a knack for making everything, and everyone, feel a little brighter. She set the tray on the sprawling oak table, her movements gentle so as not to disturb the miniature cityscape and towering mechs that were ready for battle. "Refuel for the pilots," she said, her voice like a melody. She placed a cup of coffee near Uncle Mark and a plate of cinnamon rolls in a neutral zone on the map. She then knelt beside Gabriel, running a hand through his blonde hair. "Remember to have fun, my love. It's just a game." Gabriel smiled, a rare, unguarded expression. He was a thinker, his brow often furrowed in concentration. Clarissa then moved to Elias, who was a whirlwind of restless energy. He was tall, but his youthful features gave him a perpetually excited air. She cupped his cheek in her hand. "And you, my firecracker, remember to breathe." Uncle Mark, a man whose sheer size could be intimidating if not for the warmth in his brown eyes, chuckled. "Your mother speaks the truth, boys. A clear head is the best weapon." He gestured to the game board. "All right, let's get to it. You know the basics. This is BattleTech, and every turn has 3 phases. We'll walk through them one by one." "First, the initiative phase," Elias said, his excitement barely contained. He picked up 2 6-sided dice. "I roll 2 dice and so does Gabriel. The higher roll gets to decide if they want to move last or fire first." He rolled a 9. Gabriel rolled a 12, a quiet victory. "I win," he stated. "So, what's it going to be?" Uncle Mark asked. Gabriel, ever the strategist, looked at the board, at his fast commando and Elias's slower hunchback. "I'll choose to move last." He knew his speed was an advantage, and by moving last he could force Elias to commit to a position first. The dance of movement. "Excellent choice," Uncle Mark said with a nod. "Now for the movement phase." He gestured for Elias to start. Elias moved his hunchback first, its miniature feet stomping across the hex-gridded map. I move forward, 2 hexes, and turn to face the building. I'm spending my movement points to get into a good position. Gabriel watched, his mind already calculating. "Movement speed is important here," he explained, a habit of his to articulate the rules as he understood them. "The faster a mech moves, the harder it is to hit, but if you stand still, you're an easier target, so your shots are more accurate." Gabriel's commando was a nimble fighter, a fact he intended to exploit. He moved his mech 4 hexes, weaving through a forested area and placing a building between himself and Elias. "Okay, my turn is done," Gabriel announced. "Now for the weapon attack phase." "Right you are," Uncle Mark confirmed. "Since you won initiative, you get to declare your attacks first. What are you firing?" Gabriel pointed to Elias's hunchback. "My small laser at his right leg and my medium laser at his torso." Wait, Elias interrupted. "Before you roll, you have to find your 2-hit number." He pointed to a section of his record sheet. "You have to roll 2 dice and get this number or higher. It's based on a bunch of stuff. Your pilot's skill, the attacker's movement, the target's movement, and the range. You have to add all those modifiers together." Gabriel carefully added up the modifiers for his shot. A quiet calculation in his head. He rolled, the dice clattering across the table. He hit with the medium laser. "And now for the important part," Gabriel said, a triumphant grin on his face. "If you successfully hit, you roll on the hit location table to determine where on the enemy mech you struck." He rolled again, and the result was the right torso. He picked up a red marker. "Now I track the damage on my record sheet." He carefully filled in the boxes on the schematic of Elias's mech, a small but satisfying victory. A lesson in overheating. The battle continued, a flurry of moves and attacks. Gabriel's commando danced around the perimeter, a blur of motion, while Elias's hunchback held its ground, a bastion of heavy metal. Gabriel was so focused on his movements and attacks that he began to neglect a crucial aspect of the game. He fired both lasers in a single turn, then fired them again the next. With each shot, Uncle Mark had him add heat to his mech's heat scale. "Don't forget to track your heat," Uncle Mark reminded him, his voice a gentle warning. Elias, meanwhile, was more cautious. He fired one weapon at a time, allowing his mech to cool down before his next attack. He watched Gabriel's mech closely, noticing a subtle shift in its behavior on the game board. When Gabriel went for a powerful physical attack, a death from above jump, Elias saw his chance. He also saw that Gabriel's heat scale was dangerously high. "Your mech is going to shut down, Gabriel," Elias said, his voice a mix of concern and tactical awareness. "You have too much heat." Gabriel glanced at his record sheet, a look of surprise on his face. He had been so caught up in the action that he had completely forgotten to track his heat. His mech did exactly what the rules said it would. It froze, its weapon systems going offline. Elias took his turn, his shots finding their mark. He hit Gabriel's right arm, which had already lost its armor from a previous hit. This time the hit was critical, and the die roll indicated a weapon loss. "It happens to every pilot," Uncle Mark said, his hand on Gabriel's shoulder. "That's why the most important rule isn't how to move or shoot, but to remember to manage your heat." Later, as they packed up the game, Clarissa came over to them. She listened to their recap of the game, her eyes sparkling with genuine interest. She picked up a stray die. "You know," she said, her voice soft and full of wisdom, "this game is a lot like life. You have to be strategic, you have to be ready to fight, but most of all, you have to know when to rest and cool down. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll overheat." Gabriel and Elias nodded in unison. They understood now. It wasn't just about winning or losing. It was about balance. As they put away the miniatures, Gabriel looked at Elias. "I won't forget next time," he said. Elias grinned. "I know, because you won't forget to track your heat." The moral of the story, once a simple rule, had become a profound life lesson, a bond between brothers, and a reminder that even in the heat of battle, a moment of careful thought can make all the difference.